everybody, and welcome back to the Price to Sell podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Campoli, and on today's episode, bringing you all the golden nuggets today. Today, we intend on inspiring the shit out of you, and this guest is going to do that. He's going to drop a lot of wisdom. He's filled me with a ton of wisdom. I've experienced him in many different capacities, and amazing gentleman here on the couch with me today. We have Mr. Joe Trimboli, mortgage broker, entrepreneur, mindset coach, speaker, and founder of the Wake Up Call.
And author now.
Yeah, yes.
I update that. That's pretty cool.
And author.
Thanks, man. It's awesome to be here, man.
Speaking of author, if you guys are watching, if you're listening, go and watch. We have his book here called Your Wake Up Call.
I've never been one for all those titles, but it's cool. It's cool to hear that. Yeah. Got to add the author thing.
Allow it.
It's kind of still sinking in the author thing, right? Because we tend to discount what we've done. But yeah, cool collaboration. 29 people sharing stories of how they took mindset, things that they've heard on the call, and implemented into their life. So it was fun reading all of their stories and then adding to it with lessons that everybody can take away from.
Yeah. We'll plug in 5 a.m. The 5 a.m. club right now, actually.
Yeah?
The Wake Up Call.
Wake Up Call.
So how did that start?
So when I first, listen, I got to a point, I'm not going to give you all the details, but things weren't really joyful for me in life, struggling. And
you can go into detail because people might resonate.
You know what? Just like very briefly, I had a bout with cancer at an early age. I was like 20 years old, bankruptcy later on, lent money to family, never got it back. It's the kind of debt that doesn't go away in a bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. Struggled financially for a long time, just angry, bitter, thought that if there was no such thing as bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. And just really tired of struggling. I always felt that I was capable of so much more. Like, I think everybody knows that intuitively.
Yeah.
But then by our results, we get frustrated, right? Because we're like this infinite being living in this physical body, and we're limited by what we can do physically. And so just living by physical results, I came to a point where it led, I think most people have to hit that rock bottom.
Yeah.
That was my version of rock bottom, I guess. I was looking to leave the mortgage industry. I hated the mortgage industry because I was in the habit of picking out all the stuff that was bad about things, right?
Yeah.
So, there's always two sides to everything. I tended to look at the negative side of things. And then it was a conversation I had with a good friend of mine, Silvio, at the office that I in-house at. Mm-hmm. And he gave me a different perspective. And I don't know if you've heard Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yeah, of course.
He's got a famous quote. He says, change the way you look at a thing, and the thing you're looking at changes. Mm-hmm. So in that conversation I had with Silvio, he caused me to change the way I was looking at things. And, just simple things like, my complaint to him was I didn't feel that I'm where I'm supposed to be. I don't think I'm supposed to be a mortgage broker. I don't think that's what I'm meant to do. He was like, but that's what you're doing now. And while you're doing it, you're growing into a person that will discover what's meant for you, what your purpose is.
That's huge.
Right? Mm-hmm. And like in real estate and like everything else, it's like, where do you get to work in an industry where you make your own hours, you get to talk to people of different mindsets and different lifestyles, and there's no ceiling to what you can earn, right? And really the joy of helping people through a process that they need some hand-holding with. And so that caused me to, that was my first glimpse really at, I think, a shift in mindset and how it can change things. So I went to a Bob Proctor event in LA and learned about goal setting and just started taking responsibility for my results. So it's a really long answer to your question. I'm getting there, I promise. Yeah. But in this, and then I enrolled in the program called Thinking into Results, which for me is hands down the best program.
Who's that by?
But it's a Proctor.
By Bob.
Bob
Nice.
Proctor, who, by the way, was in the movie The Secret.
Mm-hmm.
So much wisdom. He's gone now, but my mentor, and I chose him for, I think, all the right reasons. So Thinking into Results was, it's a very organized way to get out of you what you're capable of, right? And you discover your belief system, the programs that need changing, the way you see the world, the perspectives, your self-image. You'll never go beyond where you think you can go. You'll never outperform your self-image. So it's organized in such a way that as you start to move towards your goal that you said in the first lesson, you uncover things about yourself that need to be uncovered so that you can start doing the things you know you should be doing. And so I just fell in love with it so much. And it was during that experience that I got very clear on the problem that we have is ignorance, not knowing what we don't know. Like, I know what I don't know. I know I don't know how to perform open heart surgery, right? There's things I know I do know. I know how to do mortgages. I know how to speak English. Like, I know 2 + 2 is 4. But I didn't know that there was things I didn't know that I didn't know. And that's where the problem is with everyone.
Yeah, it's
ignorance is the root of all problems.
For sure. Agreed.
So Bob would recommend that we study every day. And I started to do that. And I became a consultant. I became somebody that can facilitate thinking into results, which I don't think people need all these other programs. Like, you don't need anything outside of you. The reason why I believe in thinking into results is because it uncovers what you already have within. And it lays the foundation for anything you want to do in life. And it's a repeatable program. Like, I've been doing it for 6 or 7 years. I just keep going back to the first lesson. And so my first facilitation, I had enrolled 4 of my good friends. Mike, I don't know if you Mike Borelli, have you met Mike?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Solid, right?
Yeah.
My good friend David Palitzese, we play tennis twice a week. Rich Spence, president of the Mortgage Center. And it was the 4 of us would get on a call every morning and we would read. So I think the first book we read was Think and Grow Rich. We would read for about 20 minutes, half an hour. We'd take turns reading, like a paragraph or 2. And then we would sort of discuss things that you wouldn't normally discuss. And they started to get incredible results. I was getting incredible results just as a result of the reading and the conversations we were having. And they would talk about it, and people started to ask if they could be part of this club in the morning or whatever. And I was like, no. I was very protective of it. And eventually, I hosted a workshop. I was asked to speak at the Mortgage Center conference in Cancun, Mexico. And when I got back, I was asked to do a workshop. At this workshop, I accidentally, invited the participants to come on the call. Because I knew if they walked out of there, like, mindset doesn't work if you hear something once and then don't apply it in your life. And the only the way that you're going to apply mindset in a way that's going to serve you successfully is by repetition. The same way you've learned how to do everything else, how to solve a math problem, how to speak English, or whatever language you speak, right? How to eat, how to drive a car. It's only by repetition. It's not like somebody explained to you, this is what you do, and then you did it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm trying to master my serve in tennis. If I don't practice by repetition, it's not going to get any better.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with mindset. It's not enough that you go to a conference for 3 days. So in the discovery of the importance of the repetition of hearing the same thing over and over again, or different points of view or different ideas, you're feeding your mind with this information that you need to start to see the world through. And then your results follow. So it was as a result of having hosted that workshop, I think 3 or 4 people came on from there. Then they started asking, and I would resist it. And then eventually we got to 17 people that were on the phone in the morning. And I announced that we were going to move it to a Zoom call. And I was like, you know what, invite everybody, anybody you want is welcome to come on. And it's just sort of like, the universe had its way.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't stop it.
For sure.
And the community built itself. Like, the community is just, the whole thing is just so much bigger than any one individual, right?
Yeah.
It's so much bigger than me. And that's the best part of it. It's like, you've been on it, right?
Yeah.
And you see everybody's just so supportive.
Yeah.
Nobody comes with any kind of judgment, no criticism. We talk about things you wouldn't normally talk about at the water cooler, right? And just, it's been a joy watching the results people get, and there's everybody from lawyers to stay-at-home moms and dads and students and realtors, mortgage agents, employees, people that are looking to start a business, women that have been home for 10 years that have lost their identity, that are just looking to start getting back in the workforce, people who have contemplated suicide, who have been in therapy for years. So it's not some people think, oh, I don't have big goals. Yeah, no problem. You know? It helps you in every way. And it's been very, very fulfilling. And Sylvia was right, man. Like, as I started to get better in my mortgage business and I started to do the things that I should have been doing, like building processes and communicating properly and giving without expecting anything in return and remaining in gratitude and letting go of resentment, like all these things that start to add up, I became the person that's capable of leading the call and discovering what my purpose is. Like a purpose is something you uncover. And it's only by growing in the industry that I was in that I was able to uncover my purpose. So I believe now I'm living my purpose.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out how to do it like in the business sense yet.
Yeah.
But that'll come.
It'll come.
It has to come. Otherwise it falls apart.
Exactly.
It's not sustainable, right?
Yeah. No, even like it's super inspiring being on those calls. You're a true leader on them. You know,
thank you.
Like you guide it and you lead it in such a great way. And you could tell everyone's just like so engaged, and the wisdom you're dropping, just like everything you're doing, the way you're facilitating it.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
It's
Well,
a
the wisdom
great
comes
start.
from what's in the books, right? What's on the
100%.
pages, so it's easy. Like I don't have to prepare for it.
Yeah.
And it's wisdom that's been here forever.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of time. We just don't pay attention.
Exactly.
You have, like the greatest thinkers of all time, the greatest philosophers, Einstein. You got biblical figures,
Yeah.
thousands of years old. Like it's secret of the ages are locked up in books.
Yes.
But no, I got to watch 7 hours of Housewives because
Yeah.
I'm too busy to read a book. So, and it's not enough to just read a book. Like we don't read books to finish books and say, I read that book. We read books to understand what's in the book. So, I think we spend 20 minutes in the morning reading, and then I've highlighted things as we go, and I take what might not be understood and then apply it to our lives, how we can incorporate that, or, the lesson that everybody can take and use
Yeah.
in whatever the situation is.
Yeah. It's awesome. No,
Yeah.
it's awesome. If you guys check it out. It's called the Wake Up Call.
Yeah, thanks. And the community is phenomenal. Like that's,
Yeah.
I think, the best part.
It
Like,
is.
people speak up, they share their perspectives. There are people that have become best of friends, they've started businesses together. I think, especially in today's world, you need to surround yourself with people that are going to elevate you and want to see you succeed. And yeah, like we've got so much wrong thinking going on, envy, jealousy, like all that is just wrong thinking. It's wrong programming. It's not that you're a bad person. It's just that's what we've been taught, right?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of these things are super simple to understand,
So
but
simple,
but
not easy.
Not easy.
Yeah,
Not easy to change.
yeah,
Like you don't know what you don't know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Many people are just brought up in a certain culture with their parents have no idea what they don't know, and the parents before them have no idea what they don't know. So it's all these like this programming.
yeah,
You just live a life, and you just don't know what you don't know. But then you either like criticize things that you don't know, and
Yeah.
like all these like the judgments and all these things come, and it just causes all these issues that if people were just a little more open-minded
yeah,
and open to like learning,
yeah.
I feel like things could be different. You
You
know?
remind me of there's a Flea experience. Actually, Steve Harvey does a little talk about the Flea experiment. Fleas in a jar. So I don't know if you could like insert the video, but look up Flea experiment on YouTube. It's a 1-minute video where they put fleas in a jar and they keep them in there for I don't know how long. Then they remove the lid. Now the fleas have a 3-foot vertical leap, but when they're in the jar, they hit the lid. So over time, they learn that, if I jump that high, I'm going to hit the lid. So they stop
Yeah.
jumping as high as the lid. But the thing is, once they get programmed that way, you remove the lid, you take them out of the jar, they'll never leap further than whatever that distance was to hit the lid. And then the worst part is that their offspring, they end up having little fleas. Those little fleas end up growing up, never even attempting to jump to their fullest leap,
Interesting.
right? So that's us, man. Like we've inherited and adopted. We've been programmed, with other people's belief systems and their limiting beliefs and what they think is right or what's wrong, what's possible, what's not. You should, you shouldn't. And I think it's like the most powerful thing. The thing that makes us the most powerful beings is our ability to think and choose.
Yeah.
But that's been taken for we have the ability, but that doesn't mean that everybody exercises that ability,
Yeah.
right? I didn't for 40 years, Matt.
Yeah.
40 years. I never really thought that way,
Yeah.
So
how did this this change in thought process change your mortgage business?
Oh my God, it changed everything. If you want to change your results, you got to start changing your mind. Change your mind, you change your life. Just, taking responsibility for things, understanding certain laws like cause and effect, I was doing a lot of work, but not effectively. I was reacting to things outside of me. So if my day should have consisted of making calls to my database, touching base with my clients to see that, their upcoming renewal was taken care of, or communicating in a certain way, that would kind of like end up at the back of the list because my phone rang and I got an email and I got a text. Well, that's not where the magic is, right? Like, that's outside of you. And if we're going to do anything of any relevance, we got to start living from the inside out. Now, I don't know how much time we got. It takes some time to understand what that means. So when you plan your day, you got to learn not to react to things outside of you. Like, I did all these crazy things. I've got this respond versus react coin. It reminds me to just stay focused. Focus is a superpower.
Yeah.
I could never focus when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Right? I'd be in class daydreaming, looking out the window, imagining flying with the birds. My teacher, Joe, pay attention. Stop looking out the window. Listen to me. Right? Like, what did I just say? And then they'd make me stand up, feel stupid. But they never said, hey, I love that you're using imagination. You should definitely do that. But right now, I need you to use your focus power, right? Like your ability to focus and pay attention to what I'm saying. So we've never really been taught that way.
Yeah.
Everybody's so reactive. And I think in today's world, today's market, today's whatever, news and everything else, if we don't learn to live from the inside out, we're doomed.
Yeah. Let's touch on the current market situation.
Yeah.
It's a hot topic. How long you been in the lending space?
So I've been a mortgage broker since 2000, 1999, 2000.
Okay, so
I've seen
couple
quite a
cycles.
few. I've seen a ton of rule changes. I've seen a ton of rate changes.
Yeah.
And every time a rule changed, oh my God, it's the end of the world.
Yes.
Right? Oh, that's it. We're going to go into a recession. So I don't know if you remember 2000. You've been at it for a while.
2017.
Yeah. So if you remember 2018, there was a whole set of rule changes, right? Stress test came along. I think rates probably got up as high as 4 or something. And back then it was like the end of the world, or high threes. And, again, we don't know the law of relativity. So nothing's big or small until you compare it to something else. We're at, I can get a 5-year fix right now, 4.89 with one of the major lenders. Is that a high rate or a low rate? Well, I don't know. If you dependent to like 50-year rate, it's low. It's a 50-year low, right?
Yeah.
But if you compare it to what it was last year, it's high.
Yeah.
But then people don't make a choice because automatically, no, it's a high rate. Well, what's it cost? Anyway, it's I've learned that you got to learn to think for ourselves and make decisions based on what's good for us.
Yeah.
Right. So it didn't matter what was happening, whether they reduced the number of amortization, so the payment would go up, whether they increased the minimum down payment amount, whether they added the stress test. Oh my God, they did all kinds of things, right? You can't get a 30-year AM on insurable mortgages. You can't refinance insurable anymore. So there's all these things that happen throughout the years, and every time the sky is falling. The whole industry, all the clients, panic mode, and we're seeing it again now. So I think we have to be diligent. We have to, get the right information and then make our decisions based on what is our goal. And I think that's what the thing that people are always chasing, the rate. Remind the rate. What's the best product that's going to align you with the goal that you want to achieve? You want to buy investment property? You want to move to Florida? Everybody's moving to Florida now. You want to, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Don't worry about the rate, right?
Yeah.
I've just learned to keep things in perspective, and it always comes back to the right thinking.
Yes. So even in today's climate, let's just speak to maybe your thoughts on where things are headed for a second, based on your experience.
I think we're going to have a hot spring. I think, the housing shortage, I think that's still remains a problem. People need a place to live.
Yeah.
I think it's going to get good, and then I think it'll get sort of grim again.
Okay.
So I think it'll get worse before it gets better again.
Yeah.
My take, like if I was flipping properties right now, I'd probably want to be in and out very quick. But, again, this is just like I'm guessing here, right? Because who knows? It depends the whole market reacted to just the news that the Fed said that they weren't going to increase rates the next time around, right?
Such a big reaction.
Started to see multiple offers again.
Oh, huge
started
right
to see
now.
things
Huge.
falling over ask.
Yeah.
So as an investor, I think it's difficult to find a property that actually carries as an investor, like a rental property that's actually going to, where you're going to
flow.
break even or cash flow.
Yeah, it's super hard.
Those days are done.
Yeah.
But if you need to buy real estate, you need a place to live. For me, it's like I'd rather put $4,000 towards my mortgage and pay down some equity than give a landlord $4,000 in rent because you can't rent anything for less than that. So you look at that, that's $50,000 a year that you're going to give to a landlord for rent. Well, I believe real estate is going to be worth more in 15, 20 years than it's worth today.
Yeah.
So if you believe that and you're looking to live somewhere, it doesn't matter if the market goes down by 100, 200 grand next year. You're not selling it. It's like when you own a stock.
Exactly.
Right? So I think if you're looking to buy, especially if you're first-time home buyers, I think the opportunities are phenomenal for first-time home buyers. Right? And there's some strategies that I think can be used to make them feel a little more comfortable and confident.
Yeah.
You're still living at home, right? Buy something that you can rent out until you're ready to move into it.
Yeah.
Or if you're deciding that you want to buy something, set up like an automatic savings account with your bank. Have them take the equivalent of what your mortgage payment and property taxes would be for the next 5-6 months. So if they're taking $4,000 automatically, and you're making ends meet, then you can afford a mortgage payment plus property taxes of that. Plus, at the end of the 6 months, you got $24,000 saved up for a down payment.
True.
Right? If you find that it was tough, then you have to revisit.
That's a good test.
But man, if I could go back, I did it. I bought my first property when I was still living at home. But I think if you're living at home and you got a good job, you should be buying real estate.
100%.
1,000,000%.
Yeah. There's opportunity, right?
Yeah.
But it's like what you say, like, I'm able to look at things from a good perspective. I feel like I've trained myself through self-development and things like that to understand that things are temporary and like to avoid all the noise and stuff. And there's opportunity in the chaos,
Yeah.
I'd love, because especially for like the consumers listening or the realtors out there who are dealing with difficult clients, like what's maybe a mindset hack, or like let's bring on Joe, the mindset coach now. Like how would you tell these people out there in your own way of like how to look at this sort of situation?
Well, first, if I'm talking to realtors or mortgage agents, I would right away just say, look, nobody's got the crystal ball, right? I know it sounds cliche, but nobody's got the crystal ball.
I've never heard that one before.
And so I've attended a lot of seminars. I've been to a lot of conferences where they bring in economists and they pay them a lot of money to speak on where the market's going, and they never get it right.
Yeah.
Like they never get it right. And so there's so many mortgage agents, I was one of them, that think I'm not qualified to talk about, well, you don't have to talk about what you think is going to happen. Like you don't know what's going to happen in 6 months or next year. But let's talk about what you want. And I think that's where we don't spend enough of our time, is focusing on what we want. We are always thinking, like maybe the thought crosses our mind, and then we start thinking about what we don't want, reasons why we can't, right? So I would say first to those people, don't lose confidence because you don't know what's going to happen. Do what you feel is right for the client, and make sure you're speaking facts. Like it's okay to say, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but this is my reasoning. This is why I think you are justified in buying a property now. This would be your worst case scenario. If you're prepared to live with this scenario, then go for it. Or these are the workarounds, right? I think the most important things that for consumers, one, get pre-approved. Make sure that you're dealing with a realtor that you trust, a mortgage broker that you trust, and make your own decisions based on good information that you're receiving. And I don't want people to misunderstand, because you said something, and there's a lot of people talking about this toxic positivity, or almost like we see the world through these rosy glasses or whatever they say.
Yeah.
No, it's not that. We just don't we don't go automatically to the negative. We, like Napoleon said, I see only the objective, the obstacle must give way. And if you start to live your life that way, and you start to focus only on what you want, things start to change.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying you're not going to run into some adversities, but if you learn how to respond and not react, and not let that take control over you, and control the things that you can and let go of the things you can't, you're going to do well.
Yeah.
Are
those the keys?
Oh my God, there's like a million keys.
I know, but those two things in combination, those are huge.
Which ones? I don't even know what I just said.
Well, not reacting.
Yeah, huge.
And essentially just surrendering to whatever happens, not getting too attached.
See, when you react,
Yeah.
it's an indication that you're not thinking.
Yeah.
It's just whatever the program is. Like my
Instant.
automatic reaction used to be anger.
Yeah.
Like you cut me off or whatever, something happened. Like I used to get so upset. And when you do that, you give control, you give power to the other person. When you react, you lose your power.
Yeah.
Learning to respond was one of the greatest things I've learned, but it only happened as a result of me writing out. There was a chapter in a book called As a Man Thinketh.
Yeah, I've read that.
Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. It is the result of long and patient effort and self-control. Its presence is an indication of ripened experience. So it was the repetition of that. I used to write it out every morning. It took me about a half an hour, and I know it sounds ridiculous.
No.
But nothing's going to change because trust me, every time I lost my temper, I hated myself for it. I swore I would never do it again. I yell at my kid. I never yelling at my kid again. And then, a week later, I'm yelling at my kid, my daughter, my sweet little 3-year-old, you know? And it just made me realize it didn't matter how much I never wanted to behave that way again. It wasn't going to change. It didn't matter how much I hated myself for reacting. It wasn't going to change. And I think that's the thing most people don't know. If you want to change something, you got to reprogram that automatic reaction. So in Think and Grow Rich, there's a chapter called autosuggestion. And it talks about having to repeat something to yourself over and over again to the point where that becomes automatic.
Yeah.
So I got to a point where I'm very calm. I respond. And you become a very powerful or effective individual when you're starting to respond. Now, that requires thinking, right? You keep control when you respond. So nothing's going to change just because you want it to. But if you put in the work, you can become the person that will achieve goals. It's going to take some time. Like, I'm not claiming that I'm capable of achieving all my goals right now. It's going to take me some time.
Yeah.
But there's a gestation period.
For sure.
So some people might look at you and say, well, if you're so smart or if you're so whatever, if you believe, then why don't you have a private jet and $1 billion? What? Are you kidding me? Like, plant an acorn, it's going to take some time to
grow,
to become an oak tree. But it will become an oak tree if it works within the laws of nature. We work with those same laws of nature, but we have no idea.
Yeah.
The law of gestation, the period of time that it takes something to grow into the fruit that you want to eat or enjoy, right? The law of relativity. What are you? Nothing's big or small until you relate it to something else. Vibration and attraction. What vibration are you in? Doesn't matter that you're taking the action. And action is everything. But if you're taking the action with an expectation that you're not going to get, or with a bitterness, or with this passive aggressiveness, or with the expectation that you're going to get, it's not going to work. You're in the wrong vibration.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you can only get that which you are. And that's all we've heard. You become what you think about. Thoughts become things. As a man thinketh in his heart. So like, there's a million reference to this, but we pay no attention to it. And then you have these critics that don't take the time to study or to the degree that they can understand and apply these things, that start to talk about this toxic positivity that they don't even understand themselves. Yeah, toxic positivity is telling somebody, oh, look on the bright side. You should be grateful. It could be worse. Well, if you understand the laws, there's good in everything. Everything comes, there's the law of polarity.
Yeah.
Everything has an opposite. There's two inseparable sides to everything. Cold, hot, up, down, inside, outside, high, low, good, bad. And you may not recognize the good in a situation right away, but there's a period of time that'll pass and you'll look back and you'll recognize how that happened for you and not to you.
Yeah.
And you'll hear it in speeches of actors and musicians and award winners and Nobel, like anybody that's saying anything, they're usually referencing some of the worst times of their lives as the times that they're most grateful for.
Yeah.
Because there was good in it.
For sure.
So yes, all these things apply to just, because it influences your attitude, right? And your attitude will, how does Steve Harvey say it? Your attitude will determine your altitude, something like that.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, feelings, and actions.
And then when you're operating like that, you attract more clients.
Yeah.
Because they want to work with you.
So I used to lose all kinds of clients to rate. Like, I'd bend over backwards, I'd perform miracles, but I was always with this bitterness that they would just drop me for 5 basis points and they didn't even care that I did all this work. And their bank at first had declined them, and then they go to the bank to get their check, and the bank said, oh, really? You got the mortgage? Well, why don't we have another look? And
yeah.
Well, I haven't lost a client to rate since I changed my mind. Because it's not about rate. And there's a law of non-resistance. It's another thing. I don't even think about losing the client. I know that if I'm doing the right thing, if they're meant to close with me, then they'll close with me.
Yeah, that's the
If
best way
they're
to
meant
look
to
at it.
close with somebody else, you know what? They're better served by somebody else. Like, why would I become bitter or fight to keep a client that's only going to refer more clients like that who aren't loyal, that don't respect my advice, that don't value my opinion? I want raving fans. And you know what? They're going to get the best of me. Right?
I'm dealing with that right now, so it's funny you say that.
Yeah.
I'm the same
We
way.
all deal with it.
I'm releasing to it. I don't care if they've been like a nightmare for me, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then like you think of how many people without the awareness you have that fight and ruin their days because of that, to fight to keep these clients that aren't in harmony with how you do business.
Exactly.
And then that takes the energy that you could be given to somebody that would appreciate you, that is going to be easy for you.
Exactly.
That's going to refer you all their friends and family like them.
Yeah.
Right?
I just know it's not me at the end of the day.
And that's the
it's
most
not
important
me.
thing.
Yeah. And once you can accept that, it's all good.
And I think that
It's all
goes back to
gravy.
life. If you know in your heart, if your intentions are pure and like, then it doesn't matter what anybody has to say.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're misunderstood. It doesn't matter what people think of you. If you know, if you've done your check and you know, no, my intentions are good, then who cares?
Yeah.
They're coming from a place of ignorance.
Exactly.
They don't know any better.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You're doing good stuff here, man. I love this.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Same.
Yeah. You got some good. You had Brad Lamb on here.
I did. It's a popular
huge,
episode.
right? Yeah.
He's a smart ass dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's
Does he have a good mindset?
great. I think so. I think so.
He would have to.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's succeeded, right? So, but yeah, as we end off here, I'd love for you to let's plug in the wake up call again.
Yeah.
Where can people find it?
So if you go to joetrimboli.com,
We'll have all the
first-
links.
Yeah, you can follow at 5 a.m. _wake up call. If you can't wake up at 5, listen, it'll change your life, but I get it. I was never a morning person. Like I would never set an appointment before 11. Anyway.
Yeah.
But you could watch the recordings. You become part of the community. The benefits are remarkable. So if you go to joetrimboli.com, you can take advantage of a free 2-week trial. Come on, check it out. Recently launched that book. You can get a copy of, I think there's a link on our website as well, where you can get that book on Amazon. Your wake up call, and you can read about how other people have taken information they heard on the calls and applied it to their lives. And no matter the situation, I think that's the key. And that's my mission, is basically I want people to understand that no matter the circumstances, they've got everything they need to change things and to improve their life. So you'll get a taste of that in the book. And what else? I got Thinking into Results that I'll be launching every quarter. I think the next one's going to be in about a month's time. If you come into the community, sign up for our newsletters, you'll be informed of any masterclasses that I do, just talking about more stuff like this that I think people need to become aware of, just to get a kind of taste, like the taste I got when I had that first conversation.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got their time. Like if you would have given me a book like this 12 years ago, like I remember somebody told me to watch the movie The Secret. I took it off after half an hour. I wanted to hit somebody with it, right? It wasn't my time.
Yeah.
But you come to understand things so differently.
Yeah.
joetrimboli.com. I'd love to see you on the call. Make sure you introduce yourself. I guess we'll put the link wherever.
Yeah, we'll drop the links.
I don't know anything about
and
those
yeah, it's funny. The Secret, watch The Secret. I think I stumbled upon it accidentally. I remember my aunt was over at my mom's house, and I just clicked it. It looked the trailer looked cool.
Yeah,
I saw Bob. I knew who Bob was, and it instantly resonated with me. The entire thing. So it was like in divine timing for me to watch that thing.
Yeah.
My whole life trajectory just changed after that. It was crazy how it just went down.
So what's cool about that? Like, you can only take from something or hear what's in a sentence or a phrase or a book or a show or a conversation, even this one. There's going to be people listening to this that are going to hear it from a very different way than other people are hearing it. And that all depends on the frequency that you're on.
Yeah.
Like if you're tuned into 680 News, you can only get news. You can't get upset that they're not playing Drake.
Yeah.
Right? Like they don't play that on that station. So if you're tuned into problems, if you're tuned into like poor me, victim mentality, you're not going to hear what's being said here.
Yeah.
So everybody's got their time. I'm glad I came into it because it's changed my world.
And one more thing, since we have you, if you could plug in 3 books that might change people's lives out there, what would they be?
Think and Grow Rich,
I agree with that.
top of the list.
Yep.
And any one of these books, you got to read them over and over again. I'm going to say As a Man Thinketh,
Yep.
because that chapter, Serenity, I think so many people would benefit from that. And for a while, it probably would have been Science of Getting Rich, which inspired the movie The Secret. But I bought a book by accident that had Science of Getting Rich, and then a second book by Wallace D. Wattles that wrote Science of Getting Rich, called The Science of Being Great. And I believe that Science of Being Great trumps Science of Getting Rich. For me, that book is phenomenal.
Okay.
So Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Get the deluxe edition, classic text, black with the gold pages. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And Science of Being Great by Wallace D. Wattles. And I'm going to throw a bonus too. Working with the Law, Raymond Hollywell. And Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz. Those 5 books will change your life.
Okay.
And of course, your wake-up call.
That's it.
Yeah,
All right,
man.
guys.
Thanks for doing this.
I think you
This
guys have
is awesome.
enough nuggets to impact the rest of your year. But thank you, Joe, for coming on. We're going to throw all your details
having
in
me.
the links below. If you guys want to reach out, I've been on the calls too. It's amazing. Highly recommend. And until next time, please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, no less than that, or I'll find you. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Awesome.